What's up, everybody? I just wanted to make a quick video to thank you all for supporting this channel and to talk about the future of the channel. So in the past week, I reached over 2,000 subscribers, and that may not seem like a lot in the grand scheme of things on YouTube. That's nothing. But for me, this is a really big deal. I've never had any type of following like this on any social media platform. And I've been, posting music I've made and stuff for years, ever since the MySpace days, right? SoundCloud, all that. And this has taken off in a way that none of those things did. So it really does mean a lot to me. I know that many of you are just here for tutorials or overviews. You don't really care about, the jam videos. You can see by the view counts what's more important to most of you. And a lot of people who watch my videos aren't subscribers. That's all good. That's great. But there's some of you who watch all the videos, who comment, who say really positive things, and I really appreciate it. It's awesome. YouTube is notorious for, nasty comments and like mean people. People say, don't read the comments, never read the comments. And that just hasn't been my experience at all. This channel is like, I'd say like 99.9% of the comments are just super positive. Either people, giving me props or asking really earnest questions, sincere, people who want to learn, and I love to teach, and I also love to learn, and I've learned so much from people on YouTube, like my friend DivKid and others, people who make great tutorial videos. So much of what I know is from those videos, and so it feels right to give it back, and that's what I'm trying to do on this page. So when people ask me, like, where do I get started, or what synth should I buy, or how do I make such and such sound, or how did you do this thing, it's my pleasure. I really love talking to you guys about it. It's great. So the more of that we can do, the better. And it's good for the whole community. And really means a lot to me to have, this many subscribers, this many views. And I want to, move things forward and keep continuing to grow this page. I know I haven't been posting as much lately as I had in the past. And part of that is, I'm not a professional. I have a day job. But I really do want to be able to generate some content here that you all will find valuable. So with that in mind, I consider doing a Patreon, but I don't really like the idea of a subscription service for what I do here. I don't think I post enough to warrant that, and I'm never going to do ads, but some type of monetary assistance would be helpful because I'm broke and I need encouragement to keep making these videos. Also, I do get requests sometimes for specific things, and I'm not being paid and I'm not an employee, so I don't really feel like I always want to make just whatever anyone wants me to make. But a great way to encourage me to do that would be to purchase some music that I've made and then leave a comment on the purchase and say what type of video you want me to make. So that would be amazing. Also, you can leave comments on this video. So in terms of the future of this page, what I do next, what kind of stuff I concentrate on, leave a comment, let me know. And also if you can take a look at the Bandcamp that I'm about to pull up, and if you're interested in some of the music, that would be a great way to also get in contact with me and let me know that you take this seriously and you value my time, basically. So with that in mind, we'll take a quick look at two Bandcamp pages. One is Vlsc Records. This is the label that I'm on. And the other is my personal Bandcamp, which is just ericfloorreynolds.bandcamp.com. So the vlsc.bandcamp is the label, and then this is my personal page. And the reason I have two is that, I first started putting records out. I say records, it's all digital, obviously. One day I'll put out a record, but for now it's digital. But I started out putting out some, I did a solo EP and an album with my band Fictions, and I put them on this Bandcamp. And then since then I've been involved with this label, Vlsc, who I'll talk about more in a second. But I kept the personal page up because I post live sets here. So the past, let's see, I've got 7 live sets here, and they're all very different. And you can sort of track my progression, maybe, if that's something that I'm doing. But I think it's good stuff, and you can listen to it for free, and they're downloadable for you name your price. So if you don't want to pay for it, that's fine. But if you'd like to donate something, that would be awesome, and then you could leave a comment with a suggestion or a request for the YouTube page. So this most recent one is pretty good. These two are similar. It's a new set I'm working on, which uses the modular Digitact A4 Mother 32 and some pedals, and that's like a live rig for more like club gigs and beat heavy music that I've been working on. So this is the same live rig and some of the same music, some new music in this. And this one was opening for Drum Cell and Surchai, and this one was opening for Telefon Tel Aviv. So those are two sets that I feel pretty good about. Anyway, this is Vlsc Records. This is a label based in Atlanta, Georgia, which is where I live, for those of you who don't know, and started by some friends of mine, and I was really lucky to get asked by them to contribute to some music for them, and you know, they were into the stuff that I was doing, and so as of right now, I release all my music through them. And there's some great stuff. This is just the first year, really. I think this is the beginning of 2018 up here, but these first 9 all came out in 2017, and I think they're all awesome records. I'm on 3 of them, so the ones that I'm on, this one, Receiver, was originally actually a live piece that was commissioned for this conceptual art music night that a few of us were involved in over at Tech Square Labs, which is in downtown Atlanta. And basically the concept had to do with questions about futurism and the whole singularity concept in Ray Kurzweil's singularity theory, and how that is taken up in science fiction and other things. So my friend Dylan and I, we co-wrote this piece together. He did all the lyrics and vocals, and also wrote a lot of the music, and I helped with just general concepts, and then did a lot of sound design, and then beat programming and synth and stuff. So that's a really interesting album. I feel really good about it. It's all recorded live in one take, continuous, but it was done in a studio. We worked with Anthony Nolan, who he recorded, or at bare minimum mixed and recorded and mastered a lot of the records on this label, and I think they're all awesome sounding. So I'd highly recommend Anthony Nolan's services. But we recorded with him. I'll pull up the page for this while I'm talking about it. So yeah, there's a few pieces that we separated them, but it's a continuous thing. We performed it in one long take. So you can read more about it if you're interested, but some of the instruments we used were electric piano, vocals, as I said, Reason, Ableton, a Boss loop station, Moog Sub 37, a Moog Mother 32, the Arturia drum brute, my Eurorack modular, AM/FM radio, and a handheld cassette player. So it's pretty experimental, but also beat heavy, and I think y'all will like it. And then the next thing we released that I'm involved in on VLSC is this album, Things We Stole, by my band Fictions. It's the second release from us, and this is a project that I do with my friend Mike, who releases music under the name Vlsc, and he's up in New York. I met him up there when I lived there, and we did one album together when I was living there. And then this one I came up to visit shortly after moving to Atlanta. I guess it was my first summer down here. I went up there for a few weeks. Actually, no, it was less than that. It was like a weekend, and we recorded this whole album in like 4 days. But yeah, I feel really good about this one too. It's really cool. The first Fictions record, actually, you can find here on my personal Bandcamp. And this one, some people really like it. I actually have friends who prefer this to the second one, which I don't really understand. It's definitely darker and more experimental in a way, but we really didn't know what we were doing. So this was a learning process, but you know, I'm proud of it too. It's pretty cool. You can check that out on my personal page. And then the next thing I did was this solo EP, which is all pretty simple stuff I just recorded, mixed, mastered myself. pretty lo-fi, but it's electric and acoustic guitar with some loops, micro brute, and the beginnings of my modular when I had like 3 modules and some vocals and stuff. But that's like pretty ambient. Back to the VLSC page. So then this is the second Fictions record, and we released this with VLSC, and it was recorded, like I said, live with no overdubs each track, not in one continuous thing. But the way we worked is we just, we set up, we make a patch, we get all the gear going, we hit record, and if we get a good take, that's that. And if we don't get a good take, then you start over, but it's not multi-track, it's recorded to stereo. So we had some additional mastering help from Anthony Nolan down here in Atlanta, who cleaned it up a bit, made it sound a little louder, but it was recorded to stereo, so it definitely is more on the lo-fi end of things. But yeah, it means a lot to me, this music. It's pretty much all modular. It says here, machinery, we used Eurorack modular systems, Roland SH-101 on, I think, 2 tracks. We've just got bass from there. And then the mini log on like 1 or 2 tracks, but it's like playing a pretty minimal role. And then, yeah, just an outboard mixer and some effects. So almost all the sounds on this are modular. And we didn't have any external sequencers either. So all the, the drum programming on this is super minimalist, but that's because we're using clock dividers and stuff like that. So I really, I really value this music a lot. It was an intense thing, like just a few days, write, record, and just get it out there. So I would highly recommend checking this out. And then the next thing I did on VLSC, which is to date, I guess, the most recent album I put out, is this solo record of mine, A Prayer for a New Time, which is basically just a culmination of a few years of recording music at home, electronic music, after being in bands for years. This is the first thing I did that's entirely solo. That's a full record. The Place Memory EP that's over here on the Bandcamp, this is solo, and it was recorded in a really condensed period of time. So these pieces all have a real common sound. I'm using the same instruments for everything. And, I think it stands up for what it is, but it's limited. This music is different insofar as I'm using different techniques, different equipment on almost every track. Some of them are all modular, and I have a larger system on that EP. I had like 4 modules, like I said. I say I used a modular, but I had like literally like 4 modules, but it's fine. It's all good. Sometimes that's even more inspiring than a big system, So if you go on my YouTube channel, some of you have been with me for a while, you might remember I have these micro brute modular videos, and that's what I'm using on this. Just the brute and that little tiny dope for mini case. So whereas here, this is, all different stuff. I've got the mini log. There's a whole solo mini log track. This Iphigenia in Blue is mini log only. And there's tracks that are all modular, like Major Krell. And then there's tracks with, just soft synths. I've got some FM8 and other stuff, sample-based stuff. So acoustic guitar makes another appearance. So yeah, CZ101. There's tons of different synths on here, and it's made over a long period of time. So I think it's 2 years, right? It says here spring 2015, winter 2016. So I think that it's about 2 years, maybe 18 months or something. But there's lots of different techniques here and different sounds, but I put it together in a sequence that I feel good about. And I had this cover photo from my friend Richard Peel. His photography is all on his Flickr. If you look him up, Richard Peel, can see his name here. But I love this image, and it feels like a complete thing to me, this release. It meant a lot to me making it, and I was really happy to have Vlsc put it out, and gotten a lot of really positive comments from people about it, so that feels good. But I'm ready to move on. The next thing I do on this front is going to be a lot more cohesive, and like I want to do something in a really short period of time like I've done in the past. I don't really want to, you know, just put together tracks from multiple recording sessions. I'd like to just do it in one session. So I'm definitely planning on doing some more ambient music. This is an ambient record. I didn't say that earlier, but I don't think there's a single beat on this. So I want to do some more ambient music. I want to do some, you know, all modular releases, improvisational and generative music. And then if you listen to the live sets, like these two, this is kind of a preview of some other stuff that I'm going to be doing, more beat heavy, jungle influenced, drawing on, you know, living in Atlanta, listening to the radio, trap music, bass music, you know, dubstep, and the roots of dubstep, two-step, garage, that kind of shit. Jungle, you know, all with an element of modular ambient. And that's like the other side of what I do, and bringing those two together, I think, is something I'm excited about. So yeah, that's about it for the releases. So if you listen this long, thank you so much. Sorry if it's a bit rambly, but anything you could do to support this music, start with mine, of course. But then, you know, if you like what you hear, I would highly recommend checking out the other stuff on this label. This Charo Lastra album is incredible. He's got a new one coming up. The single's up here, but the new record comes out in a couple weeks. Like I said, Sky Bison, you should listen to the album I did with him first, but then he's got an EP under the name D Belvedere. That's awesome. Like house stuff. Treppenwitz is him and our friend Colin. Just electronic music, techno, and other things. All kind of eclectic, melodic, sort of IDM, but also just straight up. Really good stuff. This is an EP they did. Michael Soft is like real lo-fi, smudgy. Sounds like it was recorded on a VHS. Kind of gothy, moody vocals. It's really good. Awesome vintage synth sounding stuff on here. And then Virtual Boy, The Glad Scientist, man, this record is awesome. Really melodic at times, and also like really dark industrial techno sounding on some tracks. Some of it is just like beautiful instrumentals. He writes, produces, records, performs all with VR. So if you ever get a chance to see this guy, man, it's not really like any live show that I've ever seen. I've never really, you know, I gotta be honest, like VR kind of seems sort of gimmicky to me. Like before I'd met him and heard his music, like it's a real hype thing in the tech world, you know. But the way that this dude uses it, the way he performs with it, the visual style, and like the whole performance of it is just like really next level shit. I know that's like cliched to say, but you know, if you see him, then you'll know. And it's really forward thinking, cool stuff. Deku is a great producer from Atlanta. He's put out a number of records, solo and with different projects he was in. But this one is his newest one. It's on Vlsc. I saw him recently open for Daedalus, so that kind of gives you an idea of the vibe, but real heady, like jazz influence, but also like old video game soundtracks. Makes you think sometimes of like Squaresoft vintage, you know, game soundtracks. Like moody, but also like with really just cool beats and sample based production. And then Quas this is the newest release on the record, and it's like jazzy, deep house, like but in like a old school way, not like the just cliched deep house sounds. This isn't just beatport deep house generic shit. This is like the real deal shit. It's fucking good. So yeah, that's enough hype for my friends, but I think I shouted out everybody. But this is the label, you know, follow them, keep up with it, because everything they put out is dope, and I'm going to keep putting stuff out through them. So if you want to keep up with my music, this is the place to look. And then last, I'll just say, get at me on Instagram. If you're on Instagram, I'm Fleur du Mal. And you can see pictures of my cats. And also, sometimes videos that end up on YouTube start here, because I'll post a little clip. But then there's also other little clips that I post here that I don't post on YouTube. So if you want to connect with me there, that's another place to do it. And if you're on Facebook, I have a Facebook floor page, but you know, Facebook's algorithm hates artists, so you'll never see anything that I post there. But if you want to hit me up on there, go ahead and give me a like. That would be awesome. I'd appreciate it. And you know, and I'll post links when I do videos and stuff like that. And yeah, really, last but not least, I just want to say again, thank you all so much. You know, I really appreciate the time you spend listening, you know? Like you take the time to listen, to watch, to learn, and that really means a lot to me. There's so many other things, so much content, so many other things you could be watching, listening to, working on. So to take time out of your day, out of your life to spend with me on my little YouTube channel really means the world to me. So thanks so much, and leave a comment. Let me know what you want to see next. My current plan is to do some Digitac tutorials, because I've gotten a lot of questions about that. So that'll be coming up soon, and we'll see where we go from there. So let me know. Like I said, you can totally just leave comments on YouTube, but I would really appreciate it if you checked out some of the Bandcamp stuff. So thanks again.